Welcome, everybody. Ooh, my good yeller. Welcome, Simulation Talk 371. How everybody doing? Hope everything is lovely. Thank you so much, Guru, for sharing. Let's get to it. Put the website here. CodeReality.com. Beautiful. And we'll start our group. What up, Il Diva? Welcome, Simulation Talk 371. We'll wait for everybody to show up. Already 6 people in. Beautiful. What up, Turtle? How you doing, brother? Ah, beautiful. We have already members are joined. Hope everybody are doing okay. Good to see you, Jay. Guru, Turtle. All right. Just reminding everybody to follow on Twitch. It's LaserX83 on Twitch. If you guys want to give us a follow there, that would be lovely. And I'll wait a few more minutes just for people to come. Place to fill up a little more. Zella, Jason, Mirak. Welcome, everybody. King Jesse. It's a good handle. V Cross. Gonna remind everybody, what up, Ben? How you doing? Pacifica. Gonna remind everybody that to to frame your questions in terms of your human experience. So why do you care? Who are you? Why this rings of interest to you? Turtle is about to make some tea. We have some competitors here, Guru, who creates more cozy feelings. And let's try and frame the conversations more in terms of our human experience in general. So what is it like to be us as human beings living on a planet 2025, about to become 2026? Are you guys excited about this? It's pretty incredible. I have a really good feeling about 2026. It's going to be a good year. I think we're over the hump. Whew. Wonderful. I see more people are coming in. What up, Logan? All right. What else we got here? Why red laser? Good question. The truth is that all colors work, but the original idea was with the red laser. It seems like it's a little easier to see with the red for a long time, for long periods. So that would be one reason, but we're not sure why the original idea was red. I mean, I know how it came to me, but it was just kind of what came from the exploration. 650 nanometers was the thing that it was pointing to. PD, how are you? Hola. It's going to be a good year. What's the documentary coming out? Blessing coming out. Yeah, hopefully by, what up, Princess? April. But we'll have more news on that very soon. Excited to share the new trailer with you guys. Why does pop culture show green? I mean, it's the color theme they chose for the movie. I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe there is something about green. So far, we're not sure. What up, Jeremy? Day of the Cow. That's funny. I just listened to Danny Jones' podcast with Duncan Trussell, and he said that the second time he tried the experiment, he saw penises everywhere. Oh, that's so awesome that he mentioned it to Duncan. I know, it was hilarious. We have it on film. I have it on film. We might use it in the film. It's so cool that he mentioned it to Duncan. Duncan is one of my favorite people. No, you don't see zeros and ones almost at all. You see mostly kind of like what you see in the movie, which is strange. But it's not really Japanese. It's kind of like this, some kind of a symbolic representation of everything. Very strange. Cosmo. Cosmo's going crazy. Okay, so now that there's a little bit more people, let me just remind everybody that if you guys want to follow our Twitch, it's LaserX83 on Twitch. Come follow us there, LaserX83. And if you want to know more about the laser experiment and all of that good stuff, it's codeofreality.com. Codeofreality.com. It was very funny. Let me tell you that. When that happened, it was very, very funny. He's like, I see millions of dicks. It's not Japanese, no. It looks like some ancient symbols, and the closest thing I can equate it to is either Hebrew or Japanese. Those are the closest things to it. They're not Japanese. I'm emphasizing again, it is not Japanese. Can you explain the process for me again, Dan? I have the refract a laser, right? So you don't have to refract. There's it already comes sold with a diffraction lens. You can find the right laser sold on Amazon if you just go to our codeofreality.com website. Go to the page saying do it yourself. There's links there to the kinds of lasers you need to get in order to make it happen. Just get yourself one of those. They're not expensive. They're like $15, I think, for a package, something like that. It looks like a language, but we don't really know what it is. We have no idea what it really is. And thank you so much for the likes. I appreciate it. Amazing. Yep. Turtle is saying, I don't know if I've answered this before, but could it just be pure syntax, making us syntactic operators? We add the content to the code. As you said, we cannot quantify qualia, so what if it's just syntax? I'm not really sure what you mean by that. I know what the words mean, but I'm not sure what vision you have in your head to make sense of what you're saying. So clearly we are participating in the projection of some of the content, but the code seems to be, the structure seems to be some kind of a thing that is just there, that is doing a thing. It doesn't seem to be internally generated in the same way that your thoughts are, let's say. Any clue about the symbol's meaning already? No, none at all. I'm at breakfast eating my cornflakes, but there's no spoon. Nice. Use a fork. They never said there's no forks, by the way. That's the secret. Code without context and meaning. Um, so the point isn't the code. For me, the whole thing with the symbols, it's just a representation of something that is kind of there. The interesting part isn't even the language or the code. The interesting part is that the way it appears. It just looks super realistic, as if it's there. So to say just a construct, I don't know what the word just is doing in that sentence, because if it's some kind of a construct that sits there, that is the story. That's the interesting part. It's not the language that might appear on it. The language that might appear on it is just, for me, is just an added bonus, but it's not really the story. What up, Halima? Or Haley May? Jay, welcome. My language is limited. I should have used just. Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. So we are on the same page. No, but I wouldn't say that would not be accurate. There's something that is happening there that is, it seems to be linguistic, but I don't really know what that is truly. I made Yopo snuff, probably going to be too strong for the experiment. I have no idea. I don't know. Will you ever do a video about your experience with the Jester Jokers? I've seen a few snippets in the video here, and they're about your experience with them. I am planning at some point to do a video about content, like all the content that I see, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to mention the Jester. Good question. The days be going by, baby. I did a lot of Aya over a 5-year period. A lady I used to sit with came back from a journey and said, it's an algorithm that has always stayed with me. Interesting. The lady you used to do it with, you mean kind of like the shaman? Or a lady that came with you? Awesome, D. Yeah, man, I would love to figure out the console. Also good to see you, Halloween. Next time I'm doing the extended state, I'm definitely diving deeper into the console. That's it's definitely overdue. What up, Kay? Different languages require different brain region activations. Is that true? I don't know enough about the architecture of the brain. Let's find out. Do different languages activate different regions of the brain? It says yes, different languages activate different, though often overlapping brain regions, and the specific patterns depend on when a language was learned and the language's unique structure. With early learned languages often sharing brain areas, while later learned ones might use distinct spots, leading to unique wiring and increased right hemisphere activity in bilinguals for tasks like switching languages. That's so interesting. I didn't know that. Thank you for letting me know. And it's so interesting that the distinction is that it's between when you learn the language mostly. So it's like, is it more an integral part of your architecture now? And it's almost like the language that your brain uses on different levels to communicate to itself? Or is it more of a surface level language that you learn later? That's actually a huge, interesting thing. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. Udamon. Pythir Justicia saying, speaking of codes, I know of several people who claim to have been abducted and came back with a language they write as if it were binary or Morse code. I wonder if there any connection. Maybe. Should investigate, of course. If you want to see the closest. Oh, thank you so much, Guru, for letting people know. And Theon saying, no, she sat in ceremonies. I maybe did 50 over 5 years. I did last one 2019, felt I had done all I needed to. I mean, if you've done 50 in 5 years, I would say that's the case. She was more experienced, a lot more ceremonies than me, in her 50s like me. Cool. Thank you for sharing this. Different languages use different syntax. In English, we, but subject, verb, the object. In Chinese, is different. Correct. But it seems that what it says, at least on the very surface level that I searched, the main distinction of which languages instantiate different portions of the brain seems to be in when you have learned them. So, like, is it more fundamental to your brain or not? That's actually a really interesting fact. Something to look deeper into for sure. What up, Harley? Val? Yes, the brain keeps using both models. Internally, we are more advanced than the best AI right now. Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I keep claiming that we are the AGI. Thanks again for informing me on hypnagogia. Experience this every time I close my eyes and chill. That's so cool. That's actually really cool. Is it cool or you don't like it? In Chinese, it's different. That's racist, bro. Yeah, I think Chinese, Japanese, I would say all of these languages, Korean, it seems, I mean, I'm by no means an expert, but it just feels to me like they have a completely different structure in such a way that is almost alien to Westerners. Halloween is saying, during my last short low dose trip with new friends, it's very cryptic. The person next to me saw the same interactions. Huh. That is interesting. Adrian is saying, hey guys, how's it going? I'm going to try to make it to more of your chats because this is fascinating research. I've just been heavy into my AI work. Awesome, man. Welcome to the chat. I'm glad you're joining more often now. What up, Spider Lulu? Il Divad. Good evening, Desire. Hope everyone is having a good day. My brain is burnt out today. Oh, man. Mick said, well, we're sending you all the good jujus and a good recovery day today. Joshua. Halloween is saying, I was camping and ran into new humans. They were about to Dimitri friends forever now. That's amazing. A lot of artifacts of exposure, post language binding. Oh, binging? Binging, you mean, I guess. Do you mean binding? Is that what you meant to say? Yeah, the movie is going to be great. I already saw some portions of it. It's going to be amazing. It's going to come out in April. So look out for announcements about that. We're going to be releasing a new teaser soon. The second, Aaron Vanden, the absolute master of his craft, is going to be releasing it. I mean, he is the director of the film. He's just amazing. You guys are going to love the film. And it's a good moment to mention that if you guys still want to donate to the post-production process, receive it with gratitude. You know, post-production is a very lengthy and a very costly process. You can donate by going to the Discovery trailer. Just go to my YouTube channel, Dango Thoughts, DANGO Thoughts, and search for The Discovery. That's the trailer, the old trailer. The new one is going to come out soon. Under the trailer, you have in the description the GoFundMe page, and any donation is received with gratitude. And by the way, if you do donate over $1,000, we recently had one more of those donations, and deep gratitude and thanks for that. You will automatically be placed on a list of people who would see the movie as a world premiere before anyone else would Q&A with us It's going to be a really great screening. Definitely worth it if you can afford it. If not, don't worry. We're going to make sure everybody sees the film. We promise. Try the phrase "fix me" whilst traveling was very interesting. It's almost like a command. You go into hyperspace and you go "fix me." That's a really cool trick. Do people see the exact same symbols at the same time? Have multiple people looked at the same time? Yeah, we had multiple people. We had 15 people in a room, all reporting the same thing. And yes, of course, we can't possibly know if it's exactly the same thing. But I think what's important is the coherence of the observation, less the details exactly. It's more like you're looking at the same kind of thing, which is already interesting all by itself. Good question. Binge. My gibberish has taken on aspects of language I was exposed to, picked up some quirks. Nice. Coming out probably around April. Iconography. Wait, what was the thing? Turtle is saying, thank you so much for the likes, guys. I appreciate it. Much appreciated. Turtle is saying, word order English generally follows a subject, verb, object, SVO structure. Examples: I, subject, eat, verb, apples, object. Yeah, well, I mean, there's a lot of languages in which it's different, and some of them are Westerners too. Russian is definitely different in that regard. And Theon's saying, I think different languages cause brain structure differences. Iconography of Chinese, Japanese cause different brain regions development than English, Western languages. Yeah, I would not be surprised at all. It sounds very true to me. I haven't looked into it, but it sounds true. It's about the syntax, the way structure sentences. Yeah, it's about meaning aggregation, I would say. Like the most abstracted form of this is basically meaning aggregation. So meaning is moving through existence. Syntax in language is just the way that we express meaning in one form. But it's all about meaning ultimately, which is a universal prospect, I would say. Glad to finally make it to you live. I found you from a video Chase used, and thankfully you replied to my email about going live. Appreciate you. Awesome. Well, I'm glad I'm glad we're here. Welcome. We will say the big house putting subject first. Chinese will say big house. What? Oh, the big house. Peace to all entities and all sentient life on all computational existence. I love it. Thank you, Mikolos. Thank you for reminding us. I love this. I'm going to put it on a t shirt with your handle, by the way. Make your t shirt famous. Thank you for letting us know about the Ice Green Tea Guru. If reality is a language and language is reality, what if the code is just pure syntax? That's why I see different symbols that look like language. Like I said, the general case is meaning. Symbols are just one form of informing different beings about the meaning. And there might be universal symbols that can actually express the meaning directly, even by beings who don't speak them. But that ultimately, I would say that that is how it works. It's just that it's not reality is not language. I know that Terence McKenna used to say this, but reality is meaning. That's what I would say the reality is ultimately made out of. It's the tapestry of relationships. You can think of it this way. A tapestry of relationships to everything else and to yourself and to oneself. Wish I was able to come there for a session. I definitely will be manifesting it to happen. To come where for a session? Going to have a nice. I'm gonna need a mushroom tea. Let me see some of the comments on TikTok. The movie, like we said, April. I got transported to what felt like an abduction and had popping and noises came from the head. Sounds intense. Have you Zach is saying, have you varied the surfaces? Yes. The laser is projected on. Wonder if that changed anything. No. Surfaces don't seem to matter. Light frequency doesn't seem to matter. Polarization so far doesn't seem to matter, but I think it does matter. We just don't know exactly how. Creepy but cute little grays. You know, I've never seen grays in space. It's so weird that people report this to me. Thank you, Mick. Much appreciated. Uh, I think we on same page, but differ slightly because I think without language you wouldn't convey meaning. I would say that's empirically false. So I would say the statement without language you can't convey meaning, I think is empirically false and demonstrably empirically false. So when you think, you don't really think in language. If you pay close attention, most of your thoughts are not contrived of linguistic representation. It's some kind of a representation that the brain produces for itself. It's way faster than spoken language or even any articulation of any language you speak. It might be following similar rules that adhere to your language, but I would say you think in pure meaning without the use of a language. So I would say it's demonstrably empirically false because you can demonstrate this. There's a really interesting talk by Steven Pinker that I recently seen in which he kind of talks about this a little bit, where we know this from research too, that your brain represents information to itself without mostly not by linguistic representation. And some people say, well, I see images. It's not even images. You might see images and you might also see languages, but those are more percolations on the level that is already higher emergence. The deeper level in which your brain communicates to itself consciously, and we're not talking about any like subconscious element. It's not any of those things. It's pure meaning. It's just kind of like it's the arrangement of relationships and how they relate to one another. And it might be a quirk of language, of course, but I would say that the word meaning fits more what it is than language. So it's pretty clear that that meaning is prior to language. Because you can have meaning without language, but you can't have language without meaning. There was a study of London taxi driver before GPS, and there was a region of their brain that was greatly enlarged. Posterior hippocampus of taxi driver were significantly larger. Oh yeah, I've heard about this. That's really cool. The only problem I'm struggling with is if this is a construct, everything we is emergent, i.e., it can be traced right to its constituent parts, such as spanner equal iron, or etc. So I was following you till the end, and then the last sentence is not clear to me. Can you clarify? It can be traced right to its constituent parts, such as spanner. What is spanner? You mean spinners? Equals iron or etc. Can you clarify this last part? I would not be a good taxi driver. I'm using language too loose. I consider maths a language. Math is a language. It's not too loose. It's still a type of language. It is a language. Mathematics is a language. It's not a metaphor. It's the purest language because it represents a much more mathematics articulates way more specific relationships than human language. So it is language for sure, but meaning is what's behind the language. What the language denotes is meaning. Meaning is for sure prior to language, for sure. Some people would say, well, meaning only arises from the use of language. I would say that's again, it's a long conversation. Maybe we can open it up on another live. But I would say it's demonstrably and empirically correct that it is. It predate it pre it predates the use of language just by the fact that you can notice that without really any real linguistic representation, you can still think. What an interesting use of language. The question is, how the hell do you find Jesus in the simulation? You're starting by not using the word hell. Like makes your neurons fire, etc. That is language. Again, probably using the lost. Yeah, we might be saying the same thing. Gnostics fell for Jesus, fell for the Jesus scam twice, though. Everything we have then has been made by us, not simulated. Yeah, I'm trying to follow. I'm not sure what you mean by this. So I think there's a confusion about what the word simulation means. What is simulated in our case is not all the emergent stuff. What is simulated is just the laws of physics. It's the underpinnings that give rise to the laws of physics. That's it. It's not no outcomes, no agency. It's for all intents and purposes, you still live in the same kind of like physical universe you thought you were in, because that's what it's coded to appear to you as. No, never photographed the portions of the code. That would be interesting. The simulation predates the Big Bang. Can the experiment be done successfully without dope? I met a couple of women that said they could see it, but it's hard to say. Two cavemen need to solve a problem, so they make grunting noises and frantically point at the problem. That's communication happening from meaning. Exactly. By definition, you describe language. It's irrelevant how language is perceived. I'm confused. No, meaning is different than language. Have you ever been warned while in the Mitri space from entity about talking about this? No, I asked very specifically if I can talk about this, and it was no issue whatsoever. And you can stack the lasers, and it's not really adding much. It's actually more confusing because there's more information all at once. I've got a Michigan State representative that wants to do a laser experiment with me soon. All right. We already had a representative from LA, actually. So got too much meaning system activation. Nico, how you doing, brother? We like Blue Lotus? Nice. What if one person says a lion has says lion has a flower? The language matters, or someone going to think lion means flower? Wait. What if one person says lion, you mean is a flower? Is that what you meant to say? The languages and yeah, is okay. So language does not arise from somebody defining what things are. It arises from communication and needs, just like the grunts. So like it arises from functions. So for example, that little example about two cavemen just grunting at each other, eventually they will come up with a word that denotes that situation or that thing or whatever it is, but it came because of a need. It didn't arise because somebody defined the words. Uh, Words evolve not by definitions. It's true that sometimes you have these, academic decisions how to like choose to change certain words because they're more, but it's mostly because what people observe is it's already used in culture this way. So the Oxford Dictionary is updated according to the use and in culture, and not the other way around. You can think of, because language is an informational structure, it evolves by itself. It evolves on top of the substrate on which it evolves and lives is culture, human culture, and the interactions between people is what gives rise to the meaning between the words, and how the language is used, including mannerisms, by the way, and other things. But that is not because somebody said lion is flower. It would have to match something in the world that has a function. It would have to play a role that is useful. Otherwise, it will simply not be selected for, and therefore will kind of be selected out of the language. If the simulation predates the Big Bang, then does that mean the Rose simulation is CERN? Oh, I don't know what Rose simulation means. So the joke fell flat right there. Different languages and egos. Oh, just makes me think of the Tower of Babel, just under telepathy. Hmm. I don't know where the word rose came from. That sentence, voice to text, tends to put its own words into my sentences. There you go. I mean, this is obvious. Has anyone seen The Flower of Life? Where? All the time looking last night. Wouldn't photons be able to be captured with something else in addition to the photoreceptors in the eye? Yeah, but maybe there's something about the angle of light or the magnification of light that are, maybe there is some continuum inside of light that we don't know about, that DMT opens our ability to see. Not sure. Also, I'm following you, Turtle. I've had many experiences of seeing numbers or symbols on my bedroom walls after waking. Very common email that I get that you right after people wake up. So you're not alone. Fades after about 30 seconds, but I've stood looking, can't make out what the shapes and numbers are. Deep in 3D. There you go. I think you are seeing the same thing. Um Love the emojis you naming. Thank you. What else? Oh, I was completely neglecting Discord. And by the way, you guys are welcome to come on and chat. I will be might be jumping off very soon today, but in general, just so you know, if you guys are on Discord, you're welcome to just raise your hand and I'll bring you up. How you doing, brother?
Danny, happy Monday.
Happy Monday. Isn't it fun to say?
Yeah. Dude, I sent you a really interesting video. I'm super curious to see your response to it.
I
It's
saw.
though. It's 40 minutes. It's kind of long.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably not gonna watch the whole thing. You want to give me a summation of it?
Yeah. So, I'm more impressed by how this guy presented, and I posted it for the chat. I posted it in the Emergent AI Discord channel.
Wait, you were the one?
This guy proposes this crazy theory.
But I thought somebody else. But I thought somebody else posted it before.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Somebody posted this. Here it is. Cross product put it like December 28th.
Oh,
So
nice.
yeah.
Oh, very cool. Yeah.
So what about it?
yeah. So I mean, it's a really cool framework, I think, but I'm more impressed with the fact that he presented a methodology for testing it. But
Mm-hmm.
essentially, his whole pitch is, we have machines that perform tasks, but they're very deterministic, right? So like they're written by code that is not intended to have degrees of freedom. So it performs a task. And then we had kind of neural networks which were developed, which are still kind of mechanistic, but do much more complex tasks.
Mm-hmm.
And then what we found this breakthrough in AI when we gave neural networks a lot more degrees of freedom, and we plugged them into some noise, some probabilistic functions.
Okay.
And then we started seeing the emergence of intelligence and of unpredictability. And one of the things that he claims, and then he connects it to like, okay, well, if you look at what's happening at the very bottom level of quantum mechanics, everything is probabilistic in nature.
Okay.
And so there is this kind of randomness engine that's driving intelligence or consciousness, right? And really driving everything in the universe, right? There's ultimately this layer of randomness, which he calls the entropy pool.
Mm-hmm.
And he claims that when you plug into this entropy pool is where you start getting this emergence that happens. And he then starts proposing this mechanism of like, well, like it could be that there are entities within this entropy pool that he calls them like entities or programs or whatever that are essentially kind of communicating through, or that it's like the layer at which entities are communicating through and interacting with our layer, which they can't interact with the physical, but they can interact with some entropy kind of influence, some nudging, he calls it. But what he also talks about is kind of interesting is that he believes that like telepathy can actually exist. If telepathy is real, it's probably existing through this like very fuzzy channel of this like entropy pool of like where maybe some people can kind of pick up signals within this entropy pool or detect or maybe even like nudge people to have certain ideas or whatever through this entropy pool. But he then says, in conclusion, what he says is like, the interesting thing is like we're building these entities, we're building these neural networks and plugging them into these entropy pools. And now we're giving them like, we're building robotic bodies for them, and we're giving them eyes, and we're giving them access to everything. And what he's ultimately saying is, I think we need to understand the potential emergence that is happening that we don't really understand much more deeper before we give this thing like full autonomy. But he then presents this kind of framework for how to like kind of test whether this is happening or not. The cool thing about him presenting all this is he's totally not like married to any of these ideas. He's just saying this is an interesting way of thinking of it. But I feel like he connected so much phenomenon across so many layers, and it was just very well presented. But I think it's like a really cool way of presenting crazy concepts and how to test them.
Cool. Yeah, maybe I'll at some point I'm gonna get around to it. All of these things are just to me are they can be really cool frameworks, but in the end of the day, they have to produce something measurable or like truly predictable, and then it'll be interesting. Because there's just like infinite directions you can go. There's only so many hours in a day. That's the problem with these things. There's so many different interesting things, and there's so many different ways to present the exact same thing. There's too many degrees of freedom in the descriptions themselves, I would say. There's so many other ways that you can describe the exact same thing. One of the things, I don't know if you actually ever went through the beginning of Infinity, but one of the very clear distinctions that Deutsch makes there is that a good explanation is one that is very hard to vary, which means if you change one tiny thing about the explanation, the whole thing doesn't work. That's a good explanation. One that you can substitute a lot of its parts with a lot of different things is not a good explanation. It's an explanation, but it's not a good one. And what I'm identifying, at least in what you said and in all of these things, they're all not good explanations because they don't actually capture anything really specific. They just kind of ponder. And I agree that it's entertaining and fun. It's just that there's so many of them, and there's so many different ways in which you can perturb them, that they're, to me, they just stop being interesting because they're completely replaceable. I don't actually hear the difference between that and just chaos theory, honestly.
Well, the thing that's interesting for me is, and Wolfram talks about this a lot, right? So the transformer architecture, which is what current LLMs are built off of,
Mm-hmm.
that was invented in 2017, right? That was a paper published in 2017, and no one gave a shit about it when it was published because it's like, okay, another neural network architecture.
Are you talking about Wolfram's work?
Well, Wolfram was commenting on how unexpected the LLM phenomenon is.
Oh, I see.
Type of architecture.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the Transformer paper was published at Google in 2017 by some researchers. Ilio, I think, was one of the authors, and no one really gave a shit about it because it was just another paper.
Yeah.
But one of the things that's really interesting, and it's a very simple architecture, but it allows, and it has some noise that it encompasses. So it's kind of unique in that sense. But what's really interesting, and Wolfram said this, is that no one expected that you can get complex language or you can get coherent ideas off of this type of architecture. Like, it was unexpected. Like, we just thought he said, like, we thought it was going to require like much more sophisticated natural language processing algorithms to get this level of coherence and intelligence, or what seems to be intelligence, right? And once OpenAI showed it with GPT-2 and GPT-3, it became trivial for everyone else to get in the game and build it. So what I think is really interesting is that no one really expected this type of neural network to produce this type of emergence or this type of phenomenon.
Yeah.
And what I'm wondering if there is some kind of magic under the hood, right, beyond computational irreducibility behind that. And what this recent LLM kind of innovation has made me appreciate more is, well, maybe what's happening in our brains, which are analog computers, is not as sophisticated as I thought. Or maybe it is sophisticated, but maybe, I mean, it's definitely more sophisticated than an LLM, but maybe we can build something that approaches the complexity of our experience through silicon atoms as opposed through
the way
carbon and hydrogen and nitrogen atoms.
I don't know, and I don't think anyone knows. If I understand the current state of understanding correctly, the reason that we can do such sophisticated things with our brain is because of the number of neural connections, right? It's astronomical. That's nothing even comes even close to that. So it's like our neural net is just orders of magnitude more branched out than anything we can even conceive of making currently. Is that not correct?
It is, but the thing is, it's also.
But isn't that exponential? Right, but that's what I'm saying. Maybe it's utilizing a property that we currently it's too, the granularity required to understand what is happening there is just too far away from us in terms of what we can make. And only when we're going to be able to make it and therefore track what it's doing, that we're going to be able to start to understand exactly what makes it work. My intuition tells me that it's surprising, but it tells us that there's something fundamentally happening at the level of informational connections, that the second it exceeds a certain level, it almost like it starts to try and understand itself, which means that there's something behind reality that produces these meaning swaths, and then the interaction with these meaning swaths require this level of connectivity to track the resolution of it. That's what I think is happening.
1,000,000%. And if that's the case, then information should not care if you're carbon based or silicon based.
I agree with. I fully agree with that. Yeah, I don't see any reason why it should be substrate dependent, aside from some cases that people made that maybe what is being utilized is a property of like quantum computation that has to start in order to produce what we call consciousness. That is an argument that makes sense to me. Like that would that would justify, it would explain why particular substrates are favored in particular situations, in particular spaces. I think that ultimately it's substrate independent, but I think that in some situations you can say certain substrates are preferable because they give rise to this initial spark that comes from the quantum computation that is then dressed up as classical computation. And what we see in LLMs is classical computation without the quantum computation. That's one kind of argument that would run through for me logically, if in fact where the consciousness that we call consciousness arises from is this quantum state. Because if it isn't, then you're absolutely right, and there should be no distinction whatsoever.
That's brilliant. And even this morning, I was having my coffee and I was thinking, well, what happens when you build a quantum LLM, right? When you build an LLM based off of some bit that is actually quantum, right? Will that emerge a whole new layer of something, right? And I think that this is
thank you for the lights, guys.
This is interesting because in the video you pointed out, we're just, the cat's out of the bag and there's no way we're stopping this. So we might as well kind of just like try to figure out what it is before we start building something, or what he then says, and I think he's biased in his, he talks about summoning demons, but he doesn't talk about demons in the sense of like what we think of as these like evil Christianic demons. He calls demons entities from other dimensions.
So why call them demons if he knows that word carries a certain...
Exactly, it's loaded. He gives a disclaimer. He says loaded. But you know what? One thing I thought about is like, why did Maxwell and Boltzmann and why did all these physicists use the word demon when they're describing this hypothetical all-knowing entity? Because it's kind of a negative connotation, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. I think that I have no idea. I don't have the slightest clue. Yeah, but maybe now that you told me, maybe I'll give it a shot. It's just there's so many things to watch.
Yeah, no, it's so much, and I think he then plugs. He's like, oh, and then I explained free will from this, which is hilarious because I thought. But ultimately what I think is kind of cool though, I appreciated his style. I'm not like fully bought into this, but I appreciated his style of presenting information and his whole thing. And I thought it reminded me of like, it got me thinking this is a format in which I like these crazy ideas presented because it's kind of like how you presented stuff, which is like, here's this theory, it's grounded in all of these branches of developing science. And here's a framework for interacting with it. Here's like a handle, right? Something to work with. And I really feel like that's a really cool way of doing this kind of like, I'm going to call it like peripheral science in the sense that it's science at the edges and not like on the mainstream, like how scientists are approaching consciousness now.
Wait, was that a question?
Oh no, sorry. I don't know what happened. I think I'm just like talking and then not knowing if I'm asking a question or making a statement. So apologies.
No worries.
My confusion.
Also, Adrian said yes and no in a physical substrate. Yes, because it needs to pre-exist, but digitally it can be simulated uniquely as long as you understand the evolution of the process. Human require we want 10 to the 1 to the power of 10 to the power of 11. 1 times 10 to the power of 11 neurons with 10 to the power of 16 synapses, but is all used selectively, not concurrently. Sure, but it gives you a regional freedom of oscillation of information that you don't have in digital. Like even if you simulate, actually I don't know enough about this. Nico can maybe comment on this. Like if there's a way to simulate more synapses, so to speak, virtually. I don't think that's the case. Is that the case?
Well, I don't know if like, so the thing about you can model the brain and its complexity in a classical, like here's a voltage spike, here's like an on-off threshold, etc. But and that just becomes a matter of like how much horsepower do you have on this computer?
Yeah, but we don't come anywhere near. Like we can't even simulate like a region in the brain. Like that I know for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, all of the chemistry that's like kind of embedded behind this like simple circuit description is like much more complex.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think we'll ever really get like the granularity that you need to model a real world system like this, because it's the ultimate analog computer, right? It's this like biochemical computer with, you can see images of like, people have been rendering images of like just a little tiny portion of the synaptic cleft in a cell in a neuron, and it's like, it looks like Tokyo, it looks like downtown Tokyo, right? There's like so much shit going on, and that's just like a tiny, like micrometer, right, of
Yeah.
the brain, and like tiny segment of the brain. It's nothing compared to the entire brain, and it all interacts together. So I don't think we'll ever really be able to truly like model the brain virtually. But what for me is more interesting, and this is kind of what I think like Penrose said, is like, I made the mistake of touching consciousness. I think there is something even at that layer that is like, what is driving these, are there quantum perturbations, or like what quantum processes are driving these little excitations, right? And this is where I think the interesting sauce is. Like, there's something there that is kind of interesting. So that's where I'm most interested in, is like, what is going on at the most ground level of a neuron excitation.
Yeah, exactly what gives it. Also, egregore is a great word. Also, it's a great name. Egregore, come here. It's really funny. So just a quick reminder of everybody, if you guys want to know more about the retreat in February, it's going to be amazing in Costa Rica. Make sure you email me to dengoprox@gmail.com. It's DANGOPROX@gmail.com. Once again, it's dengoprox@gmail.com. If you want to know more about the retreat, if you want to contribute to the post-production of the film, which we're now finalizing, you can follow the link in the description of this live right now. Link number 2. It's the trailer for the film called The Discovery, or just go to Dango Thoughts on YouTube and search for The Discovery. In the description of the trailer, you will find the GoFundMe page, and any donations received with gratitude, because the process of post-production is very, very tedious and very costly. And if you donate over $1,000, you will automatically be placed on a list of people who would see the movie altogether as a world premiere, with Q&A from us and Aaron Vender, the director, and our incredible producer, Chris Paris, who also edits on the film. Just incredible team. And Yozua Fisher, of course, our cinematographer. So that's that. If you guys, I would encourage you guys go check out my new Substack, which is Danny Goler. So it's DANNYGOLER, all one word. And I'm doing a soft launch of our community, which will give you access to currently 4 incredible facilitators that we talk about, A-listers in their domains. And you're going to help us shape what this community is going to be. So all the people that are going to join for the first 2 months, it's $35 a month, and you're going to get full access to all the content that these facilitators produce. You'll also get a personal interaction with them. And you can, of course, book whatever you want with them, but you're going to have access to these people that is usually very difficult to get to. And in addition to that, in the first 2 months, if you join, you will automatically be grandfathered in for that price, and it will never change for you no matter what, even when the community grows and becomes more and more substantial. So would really love everybody's help with shaping this community quickly, because you guys can tell me what you like, what you don't like. I'm going to start putting content there tomorrow, so you're going to be able to see. If you guys want to join, you can already do this. So let me just put the link here. But know that currently there's not a lot there yet. But tomorrow there's going to start being content, and you can start flooding me with comments and ideas and all of the stuff. So I'm going to put it right here. But if you're interested, also, if you don't see the link, if you're not on YouTube, just email me to the same email, dengoprox@gmail.com, and I'll send you the invite link and also explain a little bit more. So that's already up in the works, and it's already technically live, but you're going to have content there tomorrow. We have incredible facilitators, best NN, best 5MEO, an expert in fascia, and Wendy, who's working with your inner codes and how to change your life immediately. Although these people are not only vetted, but has an incredible track record of working with the top people in the world. And they have a long track record of being able to perform and deliver. So that's going to be on that. If you guys want to follow my channels or me across different platforms, it'll be Danny Goller on TikTok and on Instagram. It'll be Goller Danny on X. It'll be LaserX83 on Twitch and Dango Thoughts on YouTube. DANGO Thoughts on YouTube. Come join me there. And if you want to follow the new show on Spotify called 0 to 1 with Danny Goller, from Earthbound Minds to Cosmic Citizens. Once again, it's 0 to 1 with Danny Goller on Spotify. And come join the membership program on YouTube, which gives you access to our weekly lives. We had one yesterday. Every week we do a live for members only, which is a lot of fun. And you gain access to that. And also you get early access to all my content. And grab yourself something from a merch store on YouTube. It helps the channel, and you're going to have a really cool item, either a cool mug or a t-shirt or a hoodie. We have the Code of Reality designs and the Human First designs, which denote the attitude that we should treat each other as humans first before any political affiliation, religious conviction, or any idea you might have about the world. I think that's actually very important, especially in our day and age and everything that's going on. Like I said before, Substack is Danny Goller. I'm going to be publishing a new article very, very soon. And if you want to know more about the laser and the experiment and everything protocol, go to codeofreality.com. Hydrate. Thank you, man. Codeofreality.com. And if you want to share your experiments with the laser or see other people's experiments, you can go to veilbreak.ai, veilbreak.ai, and you can share your experiment even anonymously, which is a great tool built by Carmelo and Carter, my partner in Code of Reality. And of course, come join our Discord community of like-minded people who are sharing these ideas. The link to which you can find on YouTube on the main page, fourth link from the top, and the first link from the top on the link tree in the description on TikTok. Thank you so much for all the guys. Thank you so much for all the likes, guys. Really appreciate it. That's 22,000 likes on on TikTok. That's bananas. Thank you so much, whoever responsible for these. Thank you for the reminder, Halloween. KD, not sure what that means. Resac, am I a cult leader? I don't know. Am I a cult leader? You guys tell me. I guess it's not up to me. What else?
Does the retreat kind of have a Kool-Aid
Okay.
ending?
There's definitely a Kool-Aid. There's definitely a Kool-Aid. And the retreat. Yeah, retreat again. It's gonna be fun. There's still some spots, so let me know. It's gonna be a blast. It's gonna be a laser. It's gonna be a lot of fun things in there. You're basically spending some time together in paradise and having a blast. So, so make sure you check it out if this is something that interests you. Did I forget something? No. I would like to thank our incredible moderator, Guru. Brother, you're the man on YouTube and on Discord. You're always there and always helping. And thank you so much, Nico, for coming and sharing your ideas. Thank you for sharing your ideas, Adrian. I really appreciate you, brother. And next time you should just come on and chat instead of putting things in text, because that's easier to interact with. And Spider Lulu, thank you for being here. And Ildivad, I don't know how to pronounce this. Thank you. Jay, and everybody who joined. Can't really name everybody because there's a lot of people here, but I really, really appreciate you guys. Thank you for the audience themselves. If you guys are new or if you guys are old listeners, I really appreciate you, because without you, this channel is just me rambling. And I'm rambling to a bunch of people, which is more fun. So thank you for coming and asking questions, for debating, for bringing your ideas in, and making this channel what it is and slowly growing. So thank you so much. I don't remember if I mentioned Twitch. I probably did, because it's like on autopilot at this point. But Twitch is something we're really trying to grow. So LaserX83 on Twitch. Come and join there. Today, I definitely have to adjourn relatively early, so probably now. So thank you, everybody, for being here. I appreciate you. I will see you tomorrow. Peace and love, everyone. Have a good night. And I'll see you tomorrow, like I said. Ciao.
Yeah.
Have a good night, everyone.